Welcome back to my series on Vipassana meditation, where we are going to be discussing absolutely everything that anyone out there could wish to know about Vipassana meditation. If you're someone who has been interested in taking that leap, that life transformational leap, to go ahead and register for a 10-day course of Vipassana meditation. This meditation was practiced by Gautama Buddha. This was the path he took towards enlightenment. This was discovered by him, and in the previous episode, in my first episode in this series, I spoke all about that, how Vipassana was reintroduced back into the land of its origin, and how it came here. I gave you a brief background. I also spoke about what Vipassana essentially means at its core. I spoke about two very important keywords which one should always remember as the major pointers throughout your Vipassana journey, which can never go wrong, and all those things. And here I am back with the second video, where we're now going to talk about who all can go ahead and plan for a Vipassana first 10-day retreat if you're ready. I'm sure a lot of you who watched the first video, and in case there were some of those who had no idea of what to expect from a Vipassana meditation, would have a much clearer idea of what it entails, and some of your doubts would have been probably cleared, and you would have a very good idea by now if this is something you feel guided to, if this is something which beckons to your soul, and if you feel you would like to take that journey. So, well, here we're going to talk about who all can go ahead and take the Vipassana journey, who all are eligible for it. Well, absolutely everyone above the age of 18. There are meditation sessions for young children also, and I believe also for teenagers, but I am not sure if there are 10-day ones. They are shorter sessions, also one-day sessions, but we are talking about adult sessions, Vipassana sessions for those above the age of 18, and these are regular 10-day mandatory sessions. That's how you start your journey of Vipassana, through one of these 10-day sessions, no matter where you are across the globe, because Vipassana sessions are held in absolutely the same manner, in the same structure, with a few differences here and there, but the basic similar structure followed to the T. Tapes are used in Goenkaji's voice. The structure is the same all over the world, so wherever you wish to practice it, there are centers all across the world, and many of them are in India. So anyone from any nationality, any ethnicity, any religion, any gender, any cultural, political, etc. views is absolutely eligible to go ahead and practice Vipassana, to attend a session or a 10-day course. This is absolutely a secular, a non-sectarian practice, which is emphasized again and again, and anyone can go ahead and register for this course, this 10-day beginning of your Vipassana journey. What to expect from Vipassana? Now, some of the things what to expect before you, what to know before you go ahead and register for your first course. What you should absolutely be aware of. So I'm sure people who go ahead before they register for the course already have heard much about it from their friends or peers or family members who've already attended. They have heard about it, they have read about it, they have done their research, and only then they go ahead and make that big decision. So I'm going to be talking about some of those things right here, so that everything is available to you in one place. So before you register for a Vipassana session, 10-day retreat, please know that it is going to be, if you're someone especially who has never been used to sitting for long periods of times, or even all meditating, you've never been used to practicing any sorts of going inwards, and you've not been used to any kind of routine or practice, spiritual practice in a disciplined, committed or dedicated manner, then you will feel a slight difference. You will need to inculcate a slight discipline inside you. This might be a little hard for you because this will require long periods of sitting down, usually on cushions on the ground. Each person is assigned a cushion at the beginning of the session, and this is the place where they stick to for the rest of the 10 days on the assigned cushions. Some people who might have physical problems, or people who are elderly and they cannot sit down, are provided chairs, or depending on where this meditation is practiced, some other kind of paraphernalia they're allowed to bring. When I went for this course in India, I didn't see a lot of paraphernalia. People who were elderly, they were just sitting on the chairs. But in the US, I have seen people who have back problems or other stuff, other kind of ailments, also bring their own extra padding to use behind the back or things like that. So that will depend on the center you're going to. So it's always good to check ahead with them if you have some physical ailment or major back problem, or have had a back surgery or something, anything which prevents you from sitting long hours the way any average person would otherwise be able to. I'm not talking about if you are someone who is otherwise healthy, normal, and you're just scared of having to sit for long periods and you make an excuse. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people with specific ailments or physical issues, including people who are very elderly and are unable to sit on the cushion on the floor. You can go ahead and check with your center what the alternatives available to you are, and I'm sure they will absolutely be able to guide you on what to expect and what can be done to help you out. And including if you can take something from your own side to aid you in sitting down, whatever you need. Apart from this, if, as I said, you're someone who has not been used to going inwards at all, having any kind of dedicated spiritual practice, you will need to become a little more committed. I would definitely suggest for anyone who's going for Vipassana, who's registered, and there's little time left, a month or so, or if you know you're going to register but you're just waiting to register yourself, I would suggest to start ahead every single day with some kind of, even if you're just sitting in silence for, maybe you could start with 15 minutes and move on to half an hour, and if you can move on to a period which is longer than then, absolutely great, but make sure to do it every single day for whenever possible, because this will get you started into the habit. It will already give you a push into being mentally feeling prepared and physically feeling more prepared in sitting for long hours, getting yourself ready internally, getting yourself mentally prepared, and being able to hold space within yourself for longer periods of time. So this will definitely be helpful, and to have a committed, dedicated time. We want to mention that before going for Vipassana, make sure that you are not treating this as some kind of recourse for some kind of mental illness you have, or some kind of cure for a mental illness or a mental prognosis, or those kinds of things. If you are on medication for some kind of a mental illness or ailment, make sure that you are not going to Vipassana with the expectation that this is going to be a cure. Vipassana, of course, is known to, just by the way it is, to heal up a lot of things, mental, physical, emotional, on its own, but it is not they are not proclaiming it as a cure, so that you just go in there because hoping that this is going to be a cure. That is something which is not allowed, and it's also clearly mentioned. So make sure you're going with the right expectation. Of course, a lot of us who are going for Vipassana, at some point, at some level, we are going in there because we are looking for more happiness. We're looking for freedom from suffering at some level. We have come to some point in our lives where we know what it is to suffer, where we know what it is to be without joy, without the kind of harmony that we are seeking. By the time we are ready to go for Vipassana, there is a reason enough. That's okay. That is normal with all human beings. Unhappiness is part of the journey, part of the reason which makes us seek for happiness and go for things like Vipassana in the first place. But I'm talking here of proper mental illnesses or ailments. Of course, I'm sure if you discuss with them that in your form, and they would know if you're ready, someone who's ready to come for the meditation meditation or not, but other than that, don't go as expecting that this is going to be a cure for a mental ailment or some kind of ailment. So this is something they also make clear. Other than that, what is it that you should expect or you should not expect when you go for your Vipassana when the day arrives? So the things that are allowed are, for someone who is who has illness, who has a chronic ailment or some other things, you are allowed to take your medicines. The food routine, food routine is very strict there in Vipassana. You have your last meal in the before noon, and in the evening you have a little snack which is allowed only for the new students, by which it means people who are coming for Vipassana for the very first time. If you've already attended a Vipassana course before and this is going to be your second time or third or fourth, whatever, you are only allowed a drink in the evening of maybe tea without milk or lemonade or whatever is available of this sort. So, and nothing to eat. I know it can sound really hard, but trust me, when you get to that, it's all taken care of. The meditation, it cleanses you so much. It starts taking care of all your needs. Trust me, it might sound really hard at this point of time even to listen to this. So, but if you're someone with a chronic ailment or some other kind of problem, and where you do need to have medications and where you do need food, you can absolutely go ahead and mention this when you're filling out the form for registering, and they always have a column for you to mention these things, and if you have special dietary restrictions or if you will need food in the evening, and all those things will be sorted out for you. This is not a punishment. It will be taken care. If you are someone who does need meal in the evening because of some condition or some medication, you will be given a meal. It will be taken care of, but only in those circumstances and not for any other regular circumstances, of such as I feel really hungry, I cannot go to bed without a meal, is not an excuse. That is not a workable excuse. So that will not work. So other than that, things which you need to take care of, which you can take along with you. Now coming to the logistics part, everything, I think everything is taken care of there, but again it depends from center to center. You are encouraged often to take your own bedding, to take your own linen, to take your own blanket if it's cold, or a sheet if it's summer, and your own pillow. It's always a good practice. So if you can do that, go ahead and do that. Resources might be limited there, or you might not always be sure of how clean they are. They do the best, everything is clean, but again it's always for things which are so personal to always go ahead and have your own set of things, and it also reduces the burden on their resources. Some people like to use more than one pillow, some people need more sheets, so it's good to take your own sheet, your own pillow, your own covers and those kinds of things. The bed would be there, the mattresses would be there. You might have to share a room with someone else. Again, depends on location to location, country to country. Some places all centers usually have a combination of various kinds of accommodations. There are single rooms which are meant for individuals to be used alone. There are rooms on a shared basis. There are also, like, I believe, dorm kind of accommodation. So everything is part of the same big venue, the retreat. So all kinds of accommodations. So I believe usually shared accommodations are provided to people who are younger or those who are attending the meditation for the very first time. They are often given shared accommodation, but I'm not sure that this is always the criteria, so I don't know on what basis this is decided. It can also be sometimes just on first come first serve basis. So the best chance to get yourself a single room which you are not sharing with anyone, because that is best for to serve your needs for the next 10 days, because you can do your meditation, you can wake up without having to share the bathroom or anything. So it is the best thing. You will not be tempted to talk to anyone. In every way you will have your privacy. So the best way to ensure is, one of the best ways is to go ahead as early as possible on the day or when you need to reach there, so that you can it's like first come first serve, so you have the greatest chances of getting a room which is just yours, although there might be other criteria, so which I don't know what it could be. But fortunately, for every time I've been for sessions, I have always had my own room. I have heard stories of people with shared accommodation, shared rooms, and I've been glad of having my own room, because in the end it can be a little distracting to have to share your room with someone else or a dormitory. So for me, I've always been fortunate in that aspect. Of course, it's good to take your supplies. You need to take your supplies, in fact, your soap or your hand wash, your toothpaste, your brush, your towel, your slippers, bathroom slippers or whatever, and whatever else you need in terms of toiletries. So you should have all of those with you. Avoid taking any makeup. This is for women. Avoid taking hair gel for men. Avoid taking things which have heavy perfumes, heavy aromas, scents. Definitely don't take perfumes if you must. It's okay to take a moisturizer or cream if you really cannot do without it for your skin, but if it's unscented, it's great, or just basic things. So because they encourage that, and this, which will already be mentioned in the list of in the list that's shared with you in this in all that you need to know before you go for the course. So take care of that. Take as few clothes as possible, or as many as you want, but their clothes should be simple, loose fitting, no tight fitting clothes. You'll have to sit for long periods of times, plus clothes which are skimpy or those kinds of clothes, they are not allowed. So make sure that your clothes cover your body. This t-shirt like what I'm wearing is perfectly fine. Full sleeves are perfectly fine. You can take tracks for both men and women, or pajamas or parallels, or if it's India or anywhere else, if you're in an Indian ethnic dresses or whatever, which is loose fitting or which covers you up, or which is not skimpy or inappropriate in any way, or tight fitting or figure hugging, or so make sure you have those kinds of outfits, and take enough if you don't want to wash them. So make sure you have some which you can repeat on days, and all those things which you need for that. And then of course you'll need a change for the night, so take your night dress or your pajamas and those all those kinds of outfits, and that's it. I don't think you need too much. Make sure you have a pair of comfortable closed shoes, because sometimes it depends where your meditation retreat is. For example, where I did it in US, it's a desert, and it's good to have closed shoes sometimes, because if you're walking in the nature part, in the gardens, and where there are cacti, or there might be little insects or something, it's good to have a closed pair, especially when you're walking to your meditation hall in the early morning when it might be dark and you want your feet to be covered, because you're not sure about the because these centers are in a lot of isolated places. You don't know if there's wildlife, there are insects or bugs or little snakes or scorpions. So not saying this to scare you, just for a precaution. For your information, Vipassana centers are one of the safest places. There are many examples. It's pretty well known by now that despite even at places where there is a lot of this kind of wildlife, there people are unhurt, because there's that energy of mutual coexistence, of peace, of benevolence, that the wildlife is not really hurting you. You have to experience it to feel it, because there is this power of non-violence inside all of you. It's just unity with everything, and nature understands this way more than humans do, that you mean no harm. So anyway, that aside, and take care, make sure to take slippers, if you just or flip-flops, because you might want to just wear those again and again, going to the dining hall, to the meditation hall, coming back to your room. And you might not want boots or shoes to lace up again and again, so just take footwear that's comfortable. If you need socks, if it's that kind of weather, take socks. If it's going to be that time of the weather when it's like autumn or fall or winters, make sure you have sufficient layers of clothing, because As I said, these are in isolated, very open places. It can get very, very cold. If it's especially the winter time, it can get really cold. Make sure you have layers and cover-ups and cap, whatever you know according to your requirements, as you would use in winter or summer. So you might wish to take a cap or an umbrella if it's summer season, because it can get really hot in these locations. The sun can be really scorching, so it can be a long distance to travel from your room to the meditation hall, to the dinner hall, etc., etc. So make sure in this case you have an umbrella or a cap or a hat. Also, you might need these if you are walking around. Walking is encouraged after lunch and at certain times of break. Walking in the nature all alone, of course talking is not allowed, walking with anyone else is not allowed, so you might need a cap or umbrella for when you're walking and if it's hot outside. Otherwise you will find it difficult to walk in that kind of weather. Things which will not be allowed with you now, things which will not be allowed with you when you go for Vipassana. Again, these would be mentioned in all the details that are shared with you when you register for a course. So you will need to hand over your cell phone. Cell phone will absolutely not be allowed inside your room. So for those 10 days, they will be the custodian of your cell phone. Switch it off. It's all kept safe in lockers for all of you. Cell phone, no electronic devices, no computers, no laptops, no, of course, gaming devices, no whatever else, of course, radios and all. I don't know who, if anyone uses them. No iPods, no wireless headphones or headphones with wire. Nothing, absolutely nothing in the name of these devices is allowed. No books are allowed, no kind of entertainment allowed, no cards. Of course, I hope that is clear. Like if you're going for Vipassana, you would not be playing cards in that time, so these things are not allowed. You are not allowed to bring in snacks separately, apart from food not being allowed, because it breaks the rules. Other than you're not being allowed to eat food other than the times when food is officially provided, because it interferes with the meditation. Other than that, it also encourages bugs and insects to come in. So food, snacks of any sort is not allowed with your baggage inside your, once you are inside your room. So those are the things. And now we're coming to the other sensitive part. As I said, this is a meditation which is for anyone out there, no matter what religion, what faith, what practice, what spiritual, moral, political, cultural beliefs. But because this is a period where you are going to learn something, an ancient practice, which is a defined way of doing something, which is a very precise way of doing something, a precise way, a precise method, you are absolutely expected to follow just that, and not be indulging in, not be participating in any other religious or spiritual practice for those 10 days when you are there, and which is absolutely a very fair expectation. They do not want you to mingle two practices. When you've come to learn Vipassana, it has to be all about Vipassana, because that is the only way you will also realize that whatever is happening with you, whatever you're feeling, whatever transformation, whatever changes, whatever awareness is happening solely through Vipassana. It is not being mingled with any other practice. So please make sure not to take any rosary beads or malas or incense or puja stuff or any idols or deities, any pictures, any statues, any religious books, nothing of that sort at all, any scriptures, nothing at all. Make sure not to be doing any other kind of prayers, any other kind of meditations, or in your room, even verbally or mentally, or any kind of mantras, anything at all, absolutely anything at all. If it's not of a part of Vipassana, please make sure that for those 10 days, respect this tradition, respect this expectation, and only participate in Vipassana. Only do what they ask you and guide you to do. This is a basic commitment for 10 days. After those 10 days, you can decide once you go back home to your regular life. It's absolutely your decision what all you want to integrate into your life. But for these 10 days, it's absolutely expected for one not to be indulging in or participating in any rituals, practices, etc. In terms of food, you might be tempted to say that you want to fast, or you want to eat even lesser than what's provided. You want to eat just like one main meal a day when you are given 2 main meals a day, but that is again not allowed, because remember, as I spoke in my first video, this is a part of moderation, not of extremes. Any kind of extremes are absolutely not encouraged or allowed. You will be expected to have the food that is given during the times when it's given, of course, whatever quantity you want to have, but fasting is not allowed. Any of those kind of personal manipulations or practices to do with meditation or whatever, that is not allowed. So make sure that you are aware of that. I already have mentioned that medication, if you need medication for any ailments, ongoing chronic ailments or anything else, make sure that you've already discussed it, because there will be a column you will already be asked to mention those, so before when you register, so that's already taken care of. Don't throw any surprises which might create problems for everyone involved, so make sure all that is already discussed and shared with, so that everyone knows. And other than that, I think there is really very little which needs to be mentioned. Just go ahead, as I said, prepare yourself mentally, emotionally. This will be a different journey. This will not be something like what you used to every single day. The first day might feel a little difficult. I think usually the time within which you have to reach the center, which is on day 0 as it's called, is usually between 2 to 5 p.m. at most places, so make sure to reach well ahead and well in time. You register, you assign your room, you take your luggage, if you wish to call up someone at home, you can do that, say bye-bye or whatever, before you hand over your phone to the center in charge, to the people who are taking care of the administration, and you hand over everything to them. You only take your clothes and your other stuff, as I said, your toiletries and all, to your room. And if you are with someone, if you're sharing room with someone, please do not be talking to them after the formal deadline, after the time begins. In the evening there is an initiation for everyone. In Vipassana there's always separation in the men's quarters, in women's quarters, and all through the meditation, through the 10 days there is absolutely no interaction. There are separate quarters, absolutely separate area for the men and women, separate walking paths, separate accommodations, and there is no meeting in between. In the meditation hall also, there is one separate side where all the men sit, one separate side for where all the women sit, and there's a separate assistant teacher for the men and separate assistant teacher for the women. There is no talking, no intermingling, whether between people of the same gender or different genders, so there is no intermingling. You on the first day usually you have an evening snack, and after that you're all brought to one single place. Everything is initiated here, all the details, all the formalities are completed. You're given the guidelines once again, and everything is explained to you, and after that you go ahead for your very first Vipassana group meditation session, and that happens in the main meditation hall, where again men are file in from a different side, women file in from a different side. Cushions numbers are assigned to you. The first day it takes a little time because your cushion numbers are aligned to you. The row and column of your cushion say D5, so in row D or column, and the number you will find your cushion, and the number which is assigned to you will also be placed on the cushion that is yours. So you just need to find the matching number, and that is your cushion. Hold on to it tight for the next 10 days. Nobody else is going to sit on it. That's going to be your energy. It's going to be just your energy on that cushion for the next 10 days, and that's going to be your connection with the earth. So that is what is going to happen, and you're going to, after the instructions will start, for the very first time you'll hear Goenkaji's voice booming out on the audio, and all details and welcome would be heard, and you will be guided to your very first session of Vipassana. Well, not Vipassana exactly, Anapan. I'm going to be talking about that in the next video. and this is already evening, and it's a short session, an hour and a half. By this time it's night, and you go and retire to your rooms. Your Vipassana has formally, officially, full-fledged, it's begun, and you go and sleep, and you get ready to wake up the next day. You're given alarm clocks, or you can, I'm not sure if you can bring your own. At least here in the US we do have our digital alarm clocks, or you can set up your time on your own watch if your watch allows you, because phones are not, cell phones are not allowed. So you, and in any case there is a gong which is there at 4 before 4 every morning, and you're expected to wake up at 4 early in the morning, get have a bath or get dressed up, or if you don't want to do that right now, you want to do this later, the morning rituals, but the meditation starts from 4:30 in the morning. We'll be discussing that routine in the coming video. So this is how it happens, and it can be a little difficult initially for the first couple of days, you can feel, but rest assured it will not be as difficult as you think it is. You will, sooner than you realize, you will already get into the flow of things. These are all the major things that I wish to talk about. If there's something else you need to know, if there's something I've forgotten, feel free to go ahead and put in a comment, and I will definitely take that up and answer it. So this is all for today, and I'm going to be coming back soon with the next video, where I'm going to be talking about days, what happens exactly now. You are into Vipassana and day one has begun. I'm going to be talking about all those, so that every single one of you who is already excited or who has been kind of anxious already knows and is well prepared, and that will take care of a lot of your doubts and anxieties if you're having those. So go ahead and like this video if you enjoyed what I shared. Share this video ahead, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and do press on the bell icon to make sure that you don't miss any notifications, and do come back for the next video on Vipassana. It's going to be really in-depth and informational. Take care till then. Namaste.